couldn't really give him an answer. I don't know if you saw that, but I was like,
I
I
didn't.
don't know. I'm trying to be very lackadaisical. I'm just like, whatever's comfortable. Okay.
Oh, I see it now.
Yeah. There's like a delay on the chat sometimes. Hello, everyone. Almost getting, well, we're getting ready. Be ready in like 2 seconds. Just got to see everything. Hold up. Pull up the screen here. Okay, hold on. Just got to get my streams up so I can see everybody's chats.
I'm taking one second.
Let's go here. Okay. Some chats there. And then Facebook. I was trying to do this so that I could just start immediately, but apparently that's just a little too difficult.
It's fine.
As long as y'all stay with me.
Struggling. Why is it? I never is like. I need to get something to where it's like here.
Okay.
We get a stand or something. We're gonna be all right. You know, y'all's is like right. Straight on. Mine's always that way, but yeah.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Welcome to Boys and Brunch. This is the show where we expose everything going down on the timeline. And today we are talking about the versus battle between Monica and Brandy. Well, Brandy and Monica. I think that's how we usually say it. Adele's controversial carnival pick and Niecy Nash's surprise wedding to Jessica Betts. And then we're going to close off with Tyler Perry's billionaire status. So I'm Jarrod D. King. And I am joined by Brandon Harris Williams. Hello, sir.
Hey. Hello.
Marcus will be with us in a little bit. He's running a little late. I think, Brandon, you said he was out there having big fun or something, huh?
He must be out there in the city. He got to be out there with the boys. We're going to find out when he get here.
Right. Oh, you know we're gonna get all the tea. Trust. So I found out that we are all air signs. Everybody talks about how we have such a great chemistry on the show. And I'm just like, when we found that out, or not we found out, or Brandon, I think you kind of connected the dots there.
Because Marcus was saying his birthday was later this month. So I was like, okay, he's a Libra. Because at first I thought he was a Virgo. He said his birthday was this month. And then you said something like an Aquarius. And I was like, wait, let me. And then I'm a Gemini. All three different ones as well. That's different. I mean, that's interesting too. It's like all three are covered.
What month were you born? Because I know sometimes like there's
June.
Okay. So I've heard they're an interesting bunch.
The June Geminis are?
Yes.
We're everything.
You know what? You are everything. So do you think that
I didn't give you no go ahead.
Go ahead.
I think I didn't give you no Aquarius slander because I could have, but I was trying to be, we're gonna be nice about air signs and whatnot.
Look, I mean, I feel like 2020 is the year of Aquarius slander. I have not heard anybody say anything negative about Aquarius until this year, and now I'm just like, where did this happen?
Maybe they finally
learned. They're getting used to our ways, huh? So I pulled up like a quick description. Let me see if I can.
So are you January or February Aquarius?
I am January. Just at the end of January 30th. Yeah. There was, I don't know if, oh, you know what? I pulled it up. Let me get the description back up because it seemed, well, okay, that's going to take too long. But anyway, there was a description that told us about like the different air signs and said that we're all very, we can make decisions under pressure and we can be very cool and detached sometimes. And I was curious if you thought that was like an accurate description
of air signs. Yeah. Definitely. I definitely think that we can be aloof sometimes without even trying, or just be like because really just we're in our own world kind of a thing. I also think too, like to me, Libra is the most airheaded of the air signs. They're very smart, don't get me wrong, but they tend to be the most like la da da da.
We'll see what Marcus has to say about that when he comes in.
And whereas I feel like Aquarius is like the most level-headed or the most like focused out of the three as well. It's kind of like it gets progressively worse with the three.
Okay. So I also brought up our astrology pairings with like wines or drinks and stuff. So I want to hear what you're drinking and see if that matches up.
Red something. I think
Red
I don't know if
something.
it's Moscato or sweet red something.
Is it
I don't
like a
know.
wine or
It is
a
wine.
mixed
It is
drink?
wine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when we look at like wines, I don't see any red wines for like, what are you, Gemini? Well, for air signs, they have Champagne, Riesling, Chardonnay, and Sauvignon Blanc are supposed to be like the air sign wines.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I really don't drink white wine that often though. So, because I think I've
No.
had one before and it was not good. So I don't think I've tried any others.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I mean, and this is like, because I just found this out today with the air sign and the wines. I actually picked up a Sauvignon Blanc today. So, hey, I guess it works.
Go off.
All right, so we're gonna move on because we're gonna catch up with Marcus once he jumps in.
Yes, here. Okay.
But to the viewers, if at any point you hear something that you like, please heart it up on the live stream. Give us a like, give us a subscribe on YouTube, share this out, retweet, comment, and I am going to be paying attention to the comments on YouTube, Twitter / Periscope, Facebook, and now Twitch. So if you're on there, you want to watch us.
Lord.
Yeah, so I'm like, my face will be over here, but I'm gonna try to keep it here. Yeah. All right, so let's move into our first topic. Like Marcus will be here in a minute because I feel like he's gonna have so much to talk about. But this is Brandy and Monica, the verses.
Here we are, face to face. Yes.
So for those of you who don't know, verses is it's like a battle between musicians or producers, singers, whatever, and even rappers. So they play their hits, usually, and correct me if I'm wrong, Brandon, usually it's kind of like older artists or artists, well, more established artists, I would say, maybe not older, but more established, or kind of have a big backlog of hits, I would say, from like
I think
back
it's
in the day.
been everybody who's been in the business probably at least 20 years. I think it's kind of been at least the establishing thing. I don't think there's been any other maybe criteria that they all share, probably other than that, like 20, 25 years at least in the business.
Okay. Oh, look who's joining us. Here we go.
Come on now.
All right, he's coming in. Let's just give him a second because we got to talk about these two. And
You heard us.
Hello, sir.
Girl. Hello.
Listen, I heard Monica and I appeared.
See?
All right, so I guess that's a good lead into our first question because basically I think we can all agree that Brandy won, correct?
No.
Who said that?
Okay. Who said that?
So basically, okay, so hold on. I think I'm jumping ahead of myself. So basically, I was explaining what Versus was. It's kind of a battle between songs. It's mainly on Instagram. It's a live stream. And this week, we got Brandy and Monica head-to-head for like the first time in like forever that we've actually seen them on the same stage.
In 8 years, yeah. It's been 8 years since we've seen them together.
So, you guys, who do you think won? Although I already know that answer.
Monica, period. But I can say though I am biased. But also what I appreciate though about Versus is it typically is a celebration of the two. So it's not necessarily, even though it is like a battle, it's still supposed to be like us celebrating each other. So I definitely really appreciated seeing the two of them together, despite all their history, whatever that history is, because they will never share it, which is fine. But it was great that we got to see them together for it's like 3 hours. So this is a Monday night.
Well, it was quite long, and actually, when I was first watching it, like on the live stream, I only tuned in for like a quick song, and then I tuned back out, then another quick song. Did you guys stick around for the whole thing?
I did.
Yeah.
You did. You too, Marcus?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was playing in the background.
Okay. I mean, I guess that's the way to do it. Because I had to watch it for the show just to like, because I didn't watch the whole thing and people were, chatting on Twitter and I was like, okay, Brandy's being shady and blah, 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 and we'll get into all that in a minute. But yeah, I could only watch like an hour of it before I was just like, all right, I got it. You know what I'm saying? And Brandy won.
Yeah.
So that was my.
Okay. But
sure.
But I think also the thing too is it's like 20 songs, they're both playing a piece. Like they're talking in the middle of every song. They actually took an intermission, which I don't know why they. Well, I think Monica explained they did because they knew that the viewers would be there to stay, essentially. So like they could take a break and nobody would leave. Which I mean, it worked.
I mean, she was right.
Hey, I mean, look, if you got that kind of star power, I guess you can do that.
Mhm.
So let's move into like Brandy kind of picking and poking a little bit in the beginning, at least from what I saw. And I know a lot of people were kind of talking about that as well. Do you think she was being messy? I thought she was being a little bit messy.
Yep.
I didn't take it that way. I just feel like she was being awkward, and that's just her humor. I think her and Monica have very different styles of humor, so I didn't take it as messy, personally.
Okay, see, I take it as because I feel like Brandy and me, the way that we kind of like poke a little bit to be like a little, just like, you know, cute messy, not like super crazy, but I feel like you have to know who you're doing that with. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like Monica was not receiving that very well.
She's not the one to do that with.
No.
Yeah, it's like somebody tweeted because they were like, Brandy plays too much and Monica doesn't play at all. Like,
Pretty much. That's it.
I also thought, you know, Monica is very much like, I feel like I understood Monica on some level because she's very much a protect your energy type of person, especially if you've had an issue with that person in the past, you know? What did you think, Marcus?
I mean, I have to be honest. I am very biased because I always got a vibe from Brandon that I just didn't gel with. So I probably was looking at a lot of her like comments already through that lens, like I really don't like you. Okay, fine, whatever. But it really did feel like she was just like picking for no reason. Like for me, the thing that kind of just blew me was when some sort of way, I guess, being like ghetto or whatever popped up. And Brandy was like, oh, I wanted to call you to teach me how to tongue pop. And I was, why does that feel like a microaggression?
Well, she also went to Tupac and was like, what was that she said to Tupac? Like, you know, what's up? Or West Side.
Yeah.
Like West Side. It was like, girl, come on.
No, since people get shot over there, don't do that.
Right. Okay. So I'm seeing in the comments at Ty McKinney is saying Brandy won, period. Billboard said Brandy won. So
okay.
I mean, so Billboard says a lot of things.
That part. I mean, I love verses for being that we can personally make our decision at the house on our own. So thank you, Billboard. Thank you, Ty. Monica went in my house.
Hello.
So I guess, you know, it was a versus on multiple levels because we also have, you know, the fashion piece of it. I don't know if okay, so before I get your answers on that, because I see your face, Brandon. Before I get your answers on that, was fashion ever a part of this experience, of this versus experience prior to tonight? Or was that something new because we had them both in the same space, kind of sitting on stage like that?
I think no, because people are typically at home, but the more it's been going on, they're like finding newer ways to do it. It's becoming more and more produced, for lack of a better word. So, because I know not Ashley, Lord, Alicia Keys and John Legend were in the same room. I think most of the people have been probably at their houses. So I think when you do the element, we're going to be together. Because I know they were kind of dressed up too. So that's just probably what it is. It's like, because I'm not like in my living room doing this.
Right.
So who do you think was the best dressed?
Me?
Yes.
I thought that was your answer.
Right. Monica was the best dressed.
Okay, all right.
Brandon was like Whoopi Goldberg.
Marcus, I'm guessing you feeling similarly?
Yes, but I didn't love what Monica had on either.
I mean, I didn't, but if we gotta pick one.
Yeah.
Oh, you think Monica was not all that great?
No? I think it looks better with her standing up.
Okay.
Like, I think you can kind of see it better.
Opposite.
Really? You liked it better when her sitting down?
Yes, because when she was standing up, like it looked more like, for whatever reason, looked more like the boots or whatever, like when she was standing up. I was like, where's the disconnect between your top and your bottom?
Right. No, I liked Monica's outfit better. I liked what she was wearing a lot better. It took me a moment to kind of figure, because I know that there was this little bit of a debate. It was almost like one of those whether the dress is black or gold type of thing with Monica's pants. It was like, does she have pants on or boots? And for the longest, I thought it was boots. And then I watched it yesterday, and I was like, no, she's wearing pants. So I thought that she looked better. At love_eternal saying Brandy's shoes were house shoes.
I thought she had on the Monica, Why I Love You So Much, or whatever the video is. She had on those white shoes, I thought.
That's what it looked like. And see, that's why I said she was shady.
Okay. Well, they were expensive house shoes. Let me say that.
I mean, they make expensive, ugly clothes all the time. I mean, you need to buy it. Like,
right. No. That's true. You know, I think had Brandy worn just like the jacket and then just kept it like monotone underneath of that, it would have been a nice look. But it was just it was a lot.
Yeah, because the pants were like so flared out. So I kept trying to figure out, I was like, did she gain weight? Because I'm like, she doesn't look heavier up top, but the pants look so huge. And then she stood up and I was like, oh, they're just big pants. You know, because you can't really tell where they're sitting down.
Right.
So when you finally see the videos of them afterwards, I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. It wasn't horrible, but it just didn't look right when they were like sitting. Yeah. So was there anything that you guys found annoying? I mean, let's start with you, Marcus, about like the live stream, maybe anybody who was commenting or what was going on between Brandy and Monica at all? Was there anything that annoyed you?
I mean, I've already said, you know, how I felt about Brandy in general. But let me see, besides that, no, I don't think so. I don't think anything. I wanted to hear more of the music, but you know, that's always a thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think anything else really sort of like annoyed me.
Okay, so like I've heard some people talking about Kamala Harris being in the beginning of the thing. Do you think that was a positive thing, or do you think that was something that was unnecessary?
I mean, I do think it was unnecessary, but I understand why they did it. I caught it like that was when I tuned in, like at the tail end of her speaking. So I was like, what? Oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah,
because you know, it's like putting a billboard. You know, I mean, it's like commercials in the Super Bowl. It makes sense, even if no one is necessarily here for them.
Got you. How about you, Brandon? Anything stand out to you as being something that you were not enjoying?
All of Brandy's songs. No, I'm joking. No, I really enjoyed it. I think for me, it was because I think the two of them tried to make it so clear that they would not be doing this unless it was like a celebration, a good thing. So while there might have been some awkward moments or even some shade or whatever, I feel like a lot of people watching were looking for things versus just trying to like enjoy the moment. You know what I'm saying? So not saying that Brandy wasn't shady. Granted, I didn't think she was, but I think that a lot of people might have been thinking that there was more tension there than there was.
Right.
So that's why too, I was so glad we got the videos of them afterwards, like behind the scenes that people leaked of the interviews and stuff. It was like, okay, they really are good. Like they might not ever be besties because they just don't mesh that well, but there's no like beef anymore.
Right. I'm seeing, you know, we have a comment asking, do other artists have entourages? Because that was annoying. And so, you know, you had the people kind of yelling in the background. I thought that was mainly just Ray J being extra. I don't know if that was that was just my thought. I was just like, all right, that's probably just Ray J in the background, just being over the top, as usual.
I didn't even think about that, but you're probably right.
Yeah. So I don't know about it because everybody else was quiet, at least from what I saw. The other thing that I was annoyed with, and I think I mentioned this to you guys, was, you know, Milan Christopher was all up in the chats like constant. It was like Milan. Just like, dude, say what you gotta say like once or twice, like not every 2 seconds though.
I missed that. I'm sorry.
You missed that.
I mean, I don't watch so I'll see the commentary on Twitter, but I like typically ignore the ones on Instagram because I don't have time.
Yeah.
So
okay. So you're like switching back and forth.
Yeah, because I know like for me, like I had it playing on my phone and my phone was like to the side, so I was listening to it, and every so once in a while I go look back at it. I wasn't like.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. So I think we're going to move into our next topic. And I'll figure out when I'm going to put up this picture, but we're going to talk about Adele.
Okay.
So let me introduce let me just let you all know what Carnival is if you don't know. Let me just clue everybody in. Carnival is a festival in the days and months leading up to Lent where people feast, parade, and dance in the streets in opulent costume and celebrate life and culture. Carnival is so rooted in Black cultures and history that some celebrations of it are used to honor diversity and resilience, like the Notting Hill Carnival. So let me just pop up this picture real quick. I should have had this open so it wouldn't take me so long to actually do it. I could just do it real quick, but
No, you're fine. Show us Sarah Paulson. No, I'm joking. Or Katy Perry, or she looked like somebody else at first.
They showed, yeah. Where is the? Okay, the picture didn't come up. It should be up. Okay, the picture's acting stupid. Hold on, guys. Technical difficulties.
You're trying to spare us.
Technical difficulties. I think it.
Right, it was almost coming.
I think it came up briefly.
No,
I think maybe I was too quick. I think that's what happened. All right, so I got it up, and now I'm going to share the screen so that we can get that up. Okay. See, I always think I'm prepared, but then I'm like not.
It's fine.
Okay, can you guys see it now? Everybody see my screen? I feel like I'm on a meeting. Okay, so pop singer Adele caused a record scratch up a moment when she donned Bantu knots, yellow feathers, and a Jamaican flag bikini top during what would be Notting Hill's carnival celebration. Okay, so what I ask you guys was what Adele did wrong? Let's start with you, Marcus.
I think that it was not smart. I don't know if I go all the way to wrong, because I think a lot of people have called this sort of appropriation where she's profiting in some sort of way, and I don't know if I go that far. I think she looks silly. I don't think she should have done Bantu knots.
That part.
Wrong. I don't know. Silly, foolish. Yes.
Okay. All right. And how are you feeling, Brandon?
I think it is the picture itself. I think because it's the picture almost out of context, so we don't know who she was there with, what everybody else looked like. I think for me, the Bantu knots is the most jarring, most thing that throws me off. I think it was just her normal hair, and then the bikini top and the feathers. Probably like, okay, Adele's carnival, whatever, have fun. But I think because hair is so sensitive of a topic.
Yeah.
So I think that for a lot of people, that's probably the thing that's like bothering them the most.
Okay.
But it speaks to everything else.
Have you heard people talk specifically about the hair, or because I feel like the conversation lied mostly around appreciation versus appropriation?
I did. I didn't hear the hair necessarily singled out. No.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I personally, I didn't think that her intent, I didn't think that her intent was wrong. I mean, and I don't think that she was necessarily appropriating. I do think that the image, like you guys said, was definitely jarring. It was just like, whoa, what are you doing now? Like, so it caused us all to like pause, but I feel like there's a whole community of people out there who are closer to the specific culture that she was celebrating, who felt that what she did was perfectly fine and feel like, Black Americans need to kind of step back and not be so ready to like jump on top of people. What do you think about that?
Okay.
That's it?
Go ahead.
I mean, I think that if
do you think
No, go ahead.
Do you think us kind of do you think that we're kind of jumping into business that has nothing to do with us as Black Americans when we start saying that, Adele was appropriating Black culture or something? Because, I mean, I feel like this is similar to some Black Americans saying, Beyonce's Black is King, some whatever negative comments they had about that. But a lot of Native Africans were like, this is like, they were cool with it 100%. So I'm just, I want to know if you guys feel similarly, or whether they have a point there when they say that we're jumping into other people's business.
I don't know. I think there tends to be a disconnect between Black Americans and other Black people of the diaspora, even if they are in America. So I think that there is a certain view that I've noticed that they have of us that tends to be leaning more negatively. And so I think in turn, we kind of try to defend or also view them negatively as well. So I think for Black Americans, probably was a thing of like, we're defending Blackness. Even though it's not my specific Black experience, that's wrong for her to do it as this white woman. But I think there's a way to tell us that Black Americans specifically, that's not appropriation, by not being condescending about it.
Okay.
Yeah. And for me, I think that's part of at least a small part of the reason why I'm hesitant to just go like, oh, she's appropriating and that's done. Because that's not really my place in a way. Like I said, the thing that's most jarring to me are the Bantu knots, because hair is so politicized. Like even if the rest of this is wrapped up in like Caribbean culture or whatever have you, like the Bantu knots, I know people walking around with Bantu knots right now. So I feel like they have we have a stance kind of in that, and if people are kind of not happy with her walking around with these Bantu knots and trying to pass herself off, then they have a right to it.
Yeah. Speaking specifically about the hair, I remember, I had a discussion. I think it was when I was with Philly Black Pride. I was at this event, and there was this guy who was in charge of, I don't know whether it was Mr. and Mrs. Leather Philadelphia, like one of those groups. I think it was that. And he had mentioned a problem that they had in Philly with the winner of Miss Leather or whatever. She had dreads. She was, white woman, had dreads. And they got a lot of blowback because of that. I mean, and she had been doing it for a while. Now, I wish I had the range to actually, discuss that with him, because I just don't feel like I have a lot. I don't have the academic background or the speech to actually give to him to actually make a difference in that situation when he comes to me with that. But I feel like it would be different if she were using the hair as a statement to empower women of color, as opposed to using it to just have a different kind of look. And I'm curious if you guys kind of feel the same way. Is that or should white women just not wear black hairstyles, period?
I tend to lean there. But I also think too, just because like our hair is so different, so a lot of times it won't hold. Like she has the Bantu knots. I'm sure she'll take those out as soon as she got home because they look crazy, probably. You know what I'm saying? Or
probably
same
make
thing when they get
home.
That part. Or same thing when they get braids. It's like, okay, you go through all that. You complain about the quote unquote pain and everything else, but then the braids don't last but a half a day or something. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, why did you even? Because your hair doesn't hold that. So just stop.
And I think that is the part where it gets the closest to appropriation, because it is like, what was your purpose for getting these Bantu knots, for getting these locks, for getting, these braids, what have you? Like, what were you trying to do? If you were just sitting up here trying to look exotic,
right?
I have questions. And I feel like that's why a lot of people are so defensive, particularly over like black hairstyles, because you're putting this on just so you can be different, so you can, be down with the culture. And you end up looking foolish. And two, you end up minimizing sort of like what we as black people go through, wearing these hairstyles every day of our lives. Because you put this on, like Adele put on the Bantu knots for a compliment. She's not gonna be on her album cover in Bantu knots. She just ain't.
Right.
Like she put these on literally pretty much as a costume, and and we can't do that. And the more I talk about it, now I'm starting to get angry about it.
Yeah.
But I think see what you said though, it's like it's part of like a costume. So I think it's part of what gets us upset is it's like you view something that is normal every day for some of us as a costume. So that's where the problem comes in.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, we got a funny comment, at least from @Jason1802, saying Haynes over here talking about hair without any.
Listen, I had some once upon a time.
What kind
I had
of
braids
hair did
too.
you have? Oh, really? I can't imagine you with braids.
I was young and I wanted long hair. So
You need to give us a picture so that we can like put it up on screen next
I am
week.
certain I burned every picture of me with them braids because I looked a fool.
A mess.
Oh my gosh. It's so funny because I remember always wanting, I don't know. I mean, I guess growing up, I always wanted longer hair just because that's what I've seen like a lot of the other like white kids and stuff. They had longer hair and it was always so, I finally got it. And so that's why you see I'm always like touching
Not
it
the
because I
bang.
feel like, subconsciously it's like,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm curious. Brandon, what's your hair journey? Because you always got it wrapped up and I'm feeling like,
I had it out last week.
oh,
But no,
that's true.
that's
true.
I prefer having longer hair. And so it's just been a minute. So I'm like trying to grow it back out and see. But it doesn't want to cooperate with me lately. So we're gonna see what happens with life. But no, because I've had it because I've had it braided, I've had it like twisted before as well. So yeah.
Okay. I want to see this because this is interesting. I want to see both of y'all. Because
I don't have pictures of it being twisted. So
you don't have
I
any
might
pictures?
have to dig in, maybe like 2.
Okay. Come on, I'm gonna need you both to like dig deep. Okay, so you're gonna have to have a whole hair
We have a homework
conversation or
assignment.
something, right? Because I think the only thing that I had in the past besides this were cornrows, and then I mean that was before it got long, and then before that it was just buzz cut for like 20 some odd years. So all right, so I think we're going to move into the next topic, which is Nisty Nash's surprise wedding, and I thought that this was so surprising,
Yes.
of course, but I was excited for her. So actor Nisty Nash shocked everyone this week with a photo of her wedding to musician Jessica Betts. This news comes to us just 5 months after her divorce to her second husband was finalized. Yes, Brandon.
5.
We should move fast.
And social media reactions were overwhelmingly positive, but there were some who started trying to connect the dots. So with that in mind, here is our next picture. I need to remember to...
because Twitter will find it, okay?
Listen, they are some investigators.
They are.
We really could rule the world if we wanted to. We just don't want to. Like...
All right. Am I sharing? I'm sharing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the picture. Beautiful, happy, but I just had to superimpose a tweet over top of that. They're saying, y'all, Nisty Nash married the woman who sang her wedding song. It was her fake wedding song on Claws, but if you check the dates, she was still very much married to that man in real life. I see what she did there. All right. So yeah, like what do you guys think about everything like overall? What is your reaction to the news? Marcus, let's start with you.
So I was shocked when I first saw it. I was like, is this something from, I thought Claus was canceled. I was like, I thought the show was over. So I was looking and they was like, oh no, this is real. Cause they're like, that's her real name. I said,
that part.
Right.
What? And then the investigators came out and it just got like, ooh.
Right. And I feel like it's happened so fast because I was like, oh, I'm excited. And then like 2 seconds later, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Because I wasn't all in her business like that. But of course, everybody else is going to be. Brandon, what were your reactions?
At first, I agree. I thought it was like something from Claus. I was like, okay, so maybe they filmed. I think it's the final season coming up or something. So I was like, okay. And then I realized it was her. And I said, wasn't she just married? Like, didn't she just announce her divorce? Like, and I didn't go digging and looking, but Twitter did for me. Thank you. And I was like, yeah, they just got divorced this year and she's already remarried. I'm like, because it's one of two things. It's either you was creeping while you were still married to move so quickly, or I'm like, are you taking enough time to like move on from the marriage? I think there's one thing to move fast after a normal breakup, but she was married to this guy for at least like 8 or 9 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, and you remarried within a year? I know they joke about lesbians moving fast, but damn. Like,
I mean,
like,
I will say one thing. I did look at, like, people were saying that that her and the husband were separated. So maybe it's not like that fast, but I still pretty much agree with you.
Yeah, yeah. I
okay,
mean,
maybe.
during their divorce, like I did look this up, and during when their divorce was finalized, they did post a mutual statement saying, that they're
Mhm.
still friends and they're happy that they spent their time together. So it seemed to be a very amicable thing. So I mean, I don't know. My guess is maybe he probably knew what was going on, and this isn't really much of a shock to him. Probably, I would think. Because I don't know, I don't think we've gotten any reaction from him yet. But yeah, I'm happy for them, and I didn't even know she was family, really, and I think that's what.
She just had a husband, so none of us know.
Right. We were all just completely
Surprise
surprised.
to everyone. Like, okay, welcome, sis.
Right, right. Do y'all? I mean, have y'all ever been surprised by anybody in your personal life who kind of came out like that, or maybe family members who you just didn't know, and all of a sudden it was like, oh, okay, drawing
Okay.
blanks.
So
I mean, I know when I came out, I started noticing that I wasn't the only one
Mhm.
in my family. So, I don't know. I'm happy to say that. Um, but it's always interesting when these surprise popping out of the closet type moments happen. But
Um,
congrats to Niecy Nash.
I think I had a couple of students that surprised me, especially because I had kind of just like rolled off of their tongue. I was like, oh, okay then.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's
Hmm.
probably the closest I could think of.
Okay. But they just told you out of nowhere.
Well, not out of nowhere. Like, it was kind of like part of the conversation. Like, say for instance, one situation we were doing it was like a narrative type deal, and this dude was like, he was talking about what he wanted to write about. I was listening. Okay. He's like, yeah, and this was when I broke up with my boyfriend. I was like,
Oh.
okay, cool.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. That's cool. That's cool. So I think our next topic is gonna be we're gonna have plenty to talk about with Mr. Tyler Perry. Oh, I see your
I said
face,
lean back.
Marcus.
I said lean back.
All right, so let me introduce you guys to this topic. So Forbes officially noted playwright and TV mogul Tyler Perry's billionaire status in an article this week. Described how he made historic deals to own all of his content and make his fortune. If there was ever a story of achieving the American dream, this is it. But many had differing views of the news. While many are singing his praises, others are saying it's not good to celebrate billionaires because they take advantage of the little guy to get ahead. So, Brandon, as our
Mhm.
film and TV expert, what do you make of the news and people's reactions?
No, I agree to an extent that it's hard to celebrate someone being a billionaire when so many people struggle with poverty or homelessness and everything else. It's just like this is a bit jarring. I, but at the same time, though, I am able to applaud his success because he also though came from homelessness and he was able to be self-made. I think that arguably no other Black creative has been able to achieve his success, at least monetarily. So that definitely is something to applaud. I can always applaud him um, casting Black talent, at least on screen. He's always been a champion of that, especially when he was like the only one making movies for us, like that 10-year period or whatever it was. You know what I'm saying? It seemed like Tyler Perry was the only Black filmmaker in town.
Right.
He definitely kept Black people working, so I'll give him that. Um, but I don't think he's a true creative because I don't think he's a good writer, and not even because I might not necessarily like his content or ideas. He writes everything by himself, and by everything, he has like 7 shows airing between like BT and BT Plus on. He still does like 2 movies a year. He still does a play. So that's just a lot of writing that you do on your own. And it's like, what do you know, I can't really respect that as a fellow creative or a writer, because that's not how the process is supposed to work. Or also too, the way he films, he does everything so quickly. So it's like, this is
Okay.
not how things should go either.
Do you agree with that, Marcus? Do you agree that he's not a true creator because he has so many different things that he's working on so quickly?
Um, I don't know if I would have said that he's not a true creator, but I agree with the sentiment. I don't know what I would have said honestly now I think about it, but I I don't hmm, I don't really respect a lot of his creations. I'll say that because of a lot of what Brandon said, like this, you're rushing to put out all this stuff, and it's like cheap quality. You know, you have stuff still left in the film from this left from the crew. You got people with wigs that look like matted dog hair. It's just like, what are you doing? And it really makes even less sense, honestly, when you see the fact that he is a billionaire. It's like, you have the money to
To
make,
fix these problems.
like, why are you not doing it? And I think that also kind of led some sort of credence to this idea of, like, people who are billionaires, cutting these corners and taking advantage of people, because there's no reason why you should be so cheap, why you should be producing such cheaply made entertainment, and you have all this money. That tells me that you're not really caring about the quality of your product. All you care about is getting butts in the seat, getting, eyes on the TV, money in your pocket.
I just wonder if that's so wrong, though. I mean, like, is it wrong for him to be the McDonald's of cinema? You know what I'm saying? It is. Why?
Yeah.
Why is that? Why do you
Because
say it?
Yeah. But I have things like he said though, because he has all of this money. I think that television or films are done a certain way because that's the way that it works. Not necessarily because like that's the way that it has to be done. I think if like everybody takes 7 to 8 days to film an episode, but you film it like you can film a whole season in 3 weeks, there's a problem. And it shows in the work. And so I think it's like what Marcus is saying is that it comes off in the work that you're being so cheap, or it comes off all of these mistakes. Because like you don't have to make these mistakes. You don't have to do everything on your own. One person writing all of this stuff. That's why the shit is so repetitive. Because it's all coming from one person.
I don't think it's necessarily a problem with low quality work necessarily, because not everybody is going to be, creating masterpieces. I think the problem comes in the way that he gets to creating this. Because you got, like what Brandon just, like, you got people working 20-hour days for you to push out a season in 3 weeks. Like, that's hurting folk. Like, that ain't cool. Like, you out here putting out all these stereotypes that's, creating it even more of a negative perception. Like, that's damaging. At least when McDonald's pours you, they tell you on the warning label.
Gotcha. All right. I mean, I didn't know about all the 20-hour days and stuff.
Well, wait, let me say, I don't know if they're actually working 20-hour days. I'm just assuming.
So
long
days on set though is a normal thing, but it also is like you're not moving at the pace that he's moving.
Right.
So I think that may make the long days a bit more. Because essentially, what like network TV, so like ABC, Fox, and NBC, whatever, what they do in like 9 months, he's condensed to 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
If that helps
you. Yeah.
That's
no. I understand. I understand the argument against like a low quality product if you have the means to make it a better quality thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if I see if that's what he wants to do, as long as he's, and I guess maybe you guys have to make the argument to me that he's actually hurting somebody, because I feel like if he's not hurting anybody, and if people don't care that, they got these bad wigs on these actors, then why should he stop?
I don't think he's going to. I think actors want to work. So there's that. He's always going to be an actor who wants to get a check, that part. So he's going to always have talent who wants to get a project. So that's not going to change. He does also have viewership. The viewership is not going anywhere. He's pulling in, I think, some of the best numbers BT has seen in a while. He owns a large portion of BT Plus. I think the article said as well. So he has the eyeballs. So I think that's the thing too. I feel like when he first got to TV, might have been like the height of his criticism. So I think that at that time, there was probably nobody who could show him the way. And so now all these years later, it's like, well, this is successful for me, so I don't have to change. So I don't see him listening at this point.
Yeah, no, I got that. Yeah, go ahead,
I
Marcus.
also want to say this, like, if because you have black actors and black actresses who we know don't get work like that, and you have black audiences who we can say don't have as wide a variety of a choice in entertainment. I think that also becomes kind of like a moral like harm, because like you're taking these people who don't have any other options, these black actors and actresses, to where your movie may be the only one that they can book that year, and you're putting them through all of this stress of having to go through all of this, all these super long hours, super stressful work schedule, just because that's the only option they have. And you're taking these black audiences who don't have many options for trying to find entertainment, and you're feeding them this low quality stuff. I feel like that's harmful, because you're taking advantage of people who don't have any other options.
Okay. I also wanted to touch on the idea, we've gotten a couple comments here about him kind of going around actors unions. Now, I could understand this as being kind of a big negative, because, with the actors unions, they put in place those protections for the people that are working for you.
Mm-hmm.
I guess there's really no evidence of this, but do you think he could be trying to help those who aren't necessarily able to pay all the fees or whatever? I don't even know how that works, honestly, but or is he trying to take advantage of people who are non-union, so that he doesn't really have to worry about all of the protections that they put in place?
I don't think he's doing anything malicious. So I want to, I guess, at least make that clear. I don't think that he's doing anything with a negative purpose in mind. I think that he, though, is avoiding the union because of the union rules. I think probably the union rules are going to like tremendously make him expand or slow down how quickly he does go. So I think it's his way to work around that. He's not using union actors or whatever. And probably the same thing with the writers' room. I think is because I'm sure there's certain limitations they have as well. Like you can't write a whole season in 3 weeks, whatever. I'm sure. So he probably was like, okay, so to work around that, I'll just do everything myself.
Okay, all right. The other thing was, do you think that he highlights, I guess, stereotypes, like black stereotypes, and in his work? Because I see that as also being potentially problematic for a lot of people. Marcus, do you notice any of that? I mean, I've heard people talk about, the dark-skinned guy is always the villain. There's always a woman that's getting beat or something like that. Medea is a problem for various reasons. What are your thoughts about that?
That's always been the main reason why I have not really cared for much of Tyler Perry's work. And it's interesting because on the one hand, like I don't necessarily balk at stereotypes in the ways that a lot of other people do. Because I understand that they come from a place that, some people do have grandmas like Medea and so on and so forth. But I think my problem was that sort of, I don't know how many, like that years long period where he was the only person producing work. And again, this is kind of a moral thing, but I feel like if you're the only black person putting that work and all you're producing is dark-skinned men are abusive, light-skinned men are your saviors, just play grip ball with your husband and you'll come out on top. Like, if this is the message that you're constantly putting out, and I do constantly putting out, I think that does become harmful. I think that we need options. I don't necessarily think that, Tyler Perry just needs to never make another thing again in the rest of his life. But I think it says something that he has been, like you said, the only creator who's able to get to this billionaire status. And I start to wonder why. And one of the things I wonder, is it because he's producing these harmful stereotypes that black people and white people, just eat up?
Okay. All right. I mean, I could see that there are definitely arguments to be made as far as the stereotype thing is concerned. I think, for the most part, I'm like, congratulations, Tyler, for doing you and being successful at what you do. I feel, I honestly, I've never felt negatively for the most part about him. I mean, I hear what you guys are saying, And I think that, I think that your arguments definitely have merit. I personally have never felt that until I started reading what everybody had been saying about him on Twitter. I mean, had I not been on Twitter, I'd probably be like, okay, go Tyler, I have paid attention to his movies. I've paid attention to some of the stereotypes and stuff about, dark-skinned guy always being like, the crazy one. I think, I don't know, I wouldn't say that would be all of his movies, because I've seen instances where that's not the case. And I like some of his older stuff. I don't know. Do you guys like anything that he does?
Yeah, I think he excels. I honestly think plays are his lane. I think a lot of what he does doesn't translate as well onto TV and film. Again, he won't listen to criticism, so there's that. But I think though I definitely think that maybe it's the interaction of the audience or the liveness aspect, whatever that is. I think that those plays just kind of help him excel more. So I can't say that I've never liked his stuff, because I do like some of his older films. But I just also think he's gotten to the point now where everything is just so repetitive. But I think it's again though because he's doing everything on his own.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. Like, watching Tyler Perry plays back in the day, like that was an event. Like that's something you sat down with your family, you did. And I think that as far as that sort of like communal aspect of like sitting down and, interacting with the play, I think that he does really well with that. But I think that honestly, I feel like that probably wasn't enough for him. So he felt like he needed to branch off into television and film. And it didn't really work out that well. Because we see so many of those things, and we see so many creations of stereotypes that weren't present in the plays. Like, people make the jokes about how if somebody coughs in the Tyler Perry TV show or thing, they got HIV. And I feel like because he doesn't have people around him, because he won't take criticism, because he just is really just chasing after the money, like those things don't pop up. And that's another thing that really kind of drags down the film and the television, is the fact that, it just doesn't work that way.
Okay. All right. Understood. So I want to ask you, Marcus, because you kind of left, you weren't here for our conversation. I don't know what happened. I'm trying to figure out where you were. Who were you with?
Ooh.
So what's the question?
It is Pride Weekend in Atlanta.
Wait,
now.
he
so
said,
what's the question?
I said, who were you with?
Oh no, the question you were going that I missed.
You don't want to answer that question. I got you.
Oh, okay.
So I wanted to know, first of all, what you were drinking, because we were pairing that in the beginning of the show. We were pairing that with our astrological signs, because we were saying how we were all air signs. Brandon actually had something interesting to say about Libras. What was that she said?
I think they can be overall tend to be the most kind of like airheaded of the air signs. I did.
I feel attacked.
Do you think there's any truth in that, Marcus?
No.
All right, but is there a difference
firmly on the ground?
But is there a difference between September Libras and maybe you think October Libras possibly?
I mean, I have to give the caveat that I'm not deep into astrology lore, but I have always heard that though, that there's a difference between like September Libras and then like what do they come after? Because we come at the cusp of September, so.
Okay, all right. Well, I mean, I can tell you're not an airhead. Like I said last week, I feel like I probably would fit that a little bit closer. Not all the time, but like I said, I have my moments. But Marcus, what are you drinking? Because we never got that answer, and I want to see how that pairs up with your sign.
Oh well, I grabbed the first bottle that I could get my hands on. There was just some red wine.
It's red wine. Okay, so that does not do anything for us because all of our wines are white, apparently. So I think I'm the only one who's actually on point today as far as the wines and the astrology sign.
So wait, so what's the thing? Is like air signs are supposed to be drinking white wine? Like what's the thing?
Air signs are supposed to be drinking champagne, Riesling, Chardonnay, or Sauvignon Blanc.
Oh,
and I have a Sauvignon Blanc today, which actually is not. Go ahead, Marcus. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was gonna say, oh, this sounds real bougie. This sounds real bougie.
Hey, you know. All right, so I think that that's it for our topics today. Is there anything else that that anybody has to get off of their chest? Anything that anybody needs to get off their chest before we close this out? I'll take that as a no. Thank you. Okay.
Right. I was like, I
I don't think so. No.
All right. Well, if you enjoyed our conversation and want to see more, it's absolutely necessary that you let all of us know. Please give us some hearts, subscribe, share this, and talk with us when you see us on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram or wherever you see us. And I think now it's time for our toast. I hope you guys have something left in your glass for our
Just
toast.
a little bit. Just a little bit.
Okay. All right. Like for the first time, I actually have more than the two of you.
Did you refill though today?
I did not. I did not.
No, I watched you.
You're sneaking up real quick.
Okay. But until next time, be careful what you say because the boys will brunch. Take care, everyone.
Amen.
Yes.